Field, Kevin McReynolds. Batting sixth, the catcher Gary Carter, tied for the lead in home runs in the National League. Batting seventh, the third baseman Howard Johnson. The eighth batter will be the shortstop Kevin Elster, and Bob Ojeda, the pitcher, batting ninth.
And here's looking at the Reds. Barry Larkin, the shortstop, leading off. Third baseman Chris Sabo batting number 2. Batting third, the center fielder Eric Davis. The middle three, Nick Osaski, Bo Diaz, and Davey Concepcion. The bottom three, a late insertion in the lineup, Paul O'Neill, Lloyd McClendon, an ex-Met, and on the mound, Rookie of the Year. No, he wasn't Rookie of the Year a few years ago. He was beaten out by Vince Coleman, although he did get it from the Sporting News. He was voted Rookie of the Year from the Sporting News, but the Baseball Writers Association gave it to Vince Coleman. You're looking at Tom Browning, fine pitcher.
Browning with no decisions in 3 game starts. He has worked 20 in the third innings, make that 20 innings, given up 18 hits, one of them a home run. He's walked 4, struck out 10, and he has made no balks this year. Lifetime record 3-3 against the Mets.
And defensively for the Reds, we have at first base Nick Osaski, Davey Concepcion at second base, and Barry Larkin shortstop, and Chris Sabo is at third base. Left to right in the outfield, McClendon, Davis, and Jones behind the plate. Diaz, and on the mound, Browning.
And Mookie Wilson will lead it off. Mookie hitting .283 for the year with 2 home runs, 10 runs batted in, 1 for 4 last night to extend his consecutive game hitting streak to 8 games. And he has driven in 8 runs over those 8 games. Browning's first pitch is fastball. It's fouled away.
Browning should be pretty effective going against right-handed hitters because of his screwball. It turned his whole career around. Speaking of turning the ball over, it turned his career over.
Browning learned that screwball back in 1982 in spring training. And he learned it in the instructional league, and the pitch is a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. His tutor was Jim Cott, who pitched longer in the major leagues than anybody has ever played in the major leagues, and that would be a total of 25 years.
But Cott did not have a screwball.
And that's interesting, isn't it? 1-2, the count as Browning works quickly to Mookie Wilson, and the count goes to 2-2. And there's a screwball that fools Mookie, but he does foul it off.
That screwball can be tough on the arm. Browning in his first 2 years won 35 ball games, got off to a bad start because he had a tender elbow last year. Probably got it throwing the screwball.
Back to the fastball, and he strikes out his first batter.
Good fastball right there. And, of course, you really don't have to be overpowering to strike out a lot of hitters if you have the screwball. You put it in the back of the hitter's mind, and right there, Mookie swinging through the fastball.
So Browning picks up his first out. His next batter is Tim Teufel. Teufel hitting .164 with no home runs, 5 runs batted in. 1 for 4 last night, and a big hit. It came with 2 out in the top of the 9th. And he scored as Keith Hernandez drove in the winning run with a base hit to left field. A strike call. Teufel tied for 5th in the National League in walks. He has a total of 13. And the foul ball for strike 2. The Reds pitchers have allowed only 2 home runs in the last 12 games as you look at Keith Hernandez. 1-2 the count.
Good pitch right there, moving Teufel away from the plate. If you're a hitter, again, you got that screwball in the back of your mind. You just moved him away from the plate.
Fastball fouled off the front foot.
He had to swing at the fastball like he was looking for something off speed. Even though there's 2 strikes and you're sitting on the fastball, you know Browning has that good screwball, and he has the in-and-out swing right off the foot. Speaking of in-and-out swings, did you see the ball game today, the home run Canseco hit?
I did not see that.
Ball was in on top of him. He hit a home run.
And a ball call, so it's 2-2. I did watch part of that ball game, and those guys are the biggest guys I've ever seen in Oakland ball
that's
club.
A big club. And Don Baylor was hiding in the dugout.
He wasn't even in sight. This ball hit out to deep left field, way back, going to the wall. The left fielder, McClendon, and he uses up the entire ballpark to make the play.
That's like a team playing 15 innings and losing the game 1-0. When you hit a ball like this your first time up, you're really doing the body English to get it out of the ballpark, and it's right at the base of the wall.
So Tuffle long out, and that'll bring up Keith Hernandez.
Look, he's frustrated. He'll hear a couple hang with him in the dugout, but that doesn't help.
Of course, he's in that batting slump. If he were hitting .330, it would make a lot of difference.
If he was hitting .330, the ball had gone over the fence.
Hernandez hitting .214 with 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. He's tied for fourth in the National League in runs batted in with 15. He's had 11 runs batted in his last 3 games.
Well, we talked earlier, Ralph, first week of the season, we talked about Keith's hands. Now he's going to back out and then brings them back. Remember we were talking that we felt he had his hands back further? Now he told Tim in the interview that he's gone back to the original stance, holding his hands out and then bringing them back.
Good action there, but he pops it up. So McClendon another chance and left. And the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets nothing. Cincinnati coming up. Bob Ojeda in 4 game starts with a record of 2-1. He has worked 21 innings, given up 17 hits, walking 6 and striking out 15. And he has a lifetime record against the Reds of 2 wins and no losses.
Here's the Reds lineup: Barry Larkin, Chris Sable, Eric Davis. But we're going to give you the defense instead. You already got the lineup. Here's the defense: Metz, Hernandez, Tuffle, Elster, and Johnson, McReynolds, Wilson, and Strawberry, Carter, Ojeda.
And the leadoff batter for Cincinnati, Barry Larkin. Larkin hitting at .304 for the year. He has 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in, 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. He's third in the National League in base hits with 28.
He runs on his own, by the way. Pete Rose really doesn't.
Now Eric Davis, the batter. He is in a horrendous slump. Davis hitting .243, 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. He's 5 for 40 in his last 40 at-bats with 29 strikeouts this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. At the rate he is going, he will end up with a projected 224 strikeouts. We apologize for our problems with the audio, and we'll be working on it to correct it as soon as possible. And this ball down the right field line, but curving foul.
Well, they say one of the key elements for all good hitters is the ability to relax. This guy looks very relaxed. Now watch this swing. I mean, with the stance, the way he drops those hands, brings them back up. You know, it looks like he's hitting on that front heel rather than the ball of the foot. And there he slaps the ball down the right field line. But watch how relaxed this guy is.
And the fastball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. With that big circle in his swing, he's always going to strike out a lot. He's also always going to hit it a ton. He hits it as far as Strawberry. And he will always have a lot of strikeouts with all that movement. This ball will be foul, but it's a long way.
He smoked that ball, just curving foul. Talking about that hitch, ordinarily, today I think, Ralph, more so than when you were playing, the preparatory hitch usually came back, but see his hands? Now his hands go down, then back up.
Which is good.
Yeah, I think more guys did that when you were playing, where today they go straight back.
And this one popped up into shallow center field. Mookie Wilson makes the play, and the Reds go in order. So the score at the end of 1, the Mets nothing, the Cincinnati Reds nothing. Darryl Strawberry will lead it off for the Mets. Darryl hitting .348 with 5 home runs, 8 runs batted in, number 4 in the National League at hitting with that .348 average. He's number 3 in runs scored with 16, and number 2 in on-base average with a .452 on-base average. And the first pitch, ball 1. Strawberry 0 for 2 last night. And the fastball fouled away. An interesting comparison would be Eric Davis and Darryl Strawberry. They are high school buddies. Didn't go to the same high school, but played in the same basketball teams. And they both hit the ball about 90 miles. This ball is going to be an extra base hit. Strawberry on his way to second as Davis cuts it off and throws it back in. Strawberry makes it close by not sliding, but he ends up with a double.
Oh, he smoked that ball. Eric Davis cutting the ball off and getting the ball back in. Now watch Davis. He gloves the ball, turns, braces, and throws, but you're not going to get Strawberry.
Remember last year when he jumped over the fence to take a home run away from Darryl Strawberry?
Now here's Darryl Strawberry's swing. Going right into the pitch. He has that high leg kick, but his hands go back, and he slaps that ball in the right center field. Much better hitter this year, hitting for a much higher average.
And hitting left-handers much better this year. And this ball is swung on and fouled off by Kevin McReynolds. I want to correct one thing. I said Davis went over the fence to catch a ball hit by Strawberry. He leaped up, did not go over the fence, but took a ball that was over the fence and made a great catch on it. Eric Davis, he did that about 4 times last year.
Look at the size of the glove.
And this ball hit out toward right center field. Here comes Davis. Here comes the right fielder, O'Neill, and O'Neill makes the catch. Strawberry with a good, perceptive base running move as he stayed on the bag to tag up and then went over to third after the catch.
Well, that was a great move by Darryl Strawberry, and of course he got a break when O'Neill had a dive for the ball, but Darryl hustling to third base. Good base running. Well, here's McReynolds getting jammed and looping the ball into right field. And O'Neill comes in, making the catch, and Strawberry wisely tagging up and hustling to third base.
He didn't have to make that catch that way. He could have caught it standing up, and it cost him a base. So McReynolds hitting .223 before the out, moves Strawberry to third, where he can score on and out, and the batter will be Gary Carter.
Should see a lot of right-handers getting jammed by Browning if he has the good screwball, because they'll be looking for the screwball, and when he throws that fastball inside, he'll jam the right-handed hitter.
And that's ball 1. Carter hitting .328 with 7 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Tied for first in home runs with his 7th. And he's number 1 in slugging percentage at .688 in the National League. This ball hit out to center. It'll score a run. Strawberry tagged up at third. Davis won't even throw to home as there's no chance to pick up Strawberry, and Carter gets a run batted in, and the Mets take the lead by a score of 1-0.
Here's Gary Carter hanging in there and slapping the ball that's out over the plate into the air. That screwball was up belt high. And Gary Carter getting the job done. No throw, as Ralph mentioned, on Darryl Strawberry. The big thing is to hustle it back into the infield, just in case the runner trips between third and home. Just don't hold on to the ball.
And the batter will be Howard Johnson, and he takes the first pitch for strike one. Johnson hitting 179. 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 1 for 4 last night. Johnson has been walked a lot. He's second in the National League in walks with 15. This ball hit down the left field side, foul. Strike 2 count. Those walks to Johnson are an aftermath of his year last year when he batted .265 with 36 home runs and 99 runs batted in.
And
he has made believers out of everybody.
Yeah, believers to the point where they're all throwing him off-speed pitches, so he'll have to adjust to that.
There's an off-speed change-up, and it's 1 and 2.
It's amazing how word goes around the league. Baseball players talk during the off-season when they get together, and they'll talk about hot hitters, how to pitch to them.
Tom Browning working for the Cincinnati Reds. This ball hit deep to left. It's way back, and again, McClendon back to the warning track and making the catch. 2 long drives to left that are caught by McClendon. Mets get 1 run on 1 hit, leave none, and the score at the end of 1.5. The Mets 1, the Reds nothing.
Well, when ball players come to the park, they go through different rituals in loosening up for a ball game. Now, they all have. There's a guy who hit 22 home runs last year. He came on as a hitter. Billy DeMar, the former hitting instructor here in Cincinnati, got him to cut down his swing, and right there, he cut it down enough to pick up a base hit. Another guy who strikes out a lot on this ball club, Nick Osaski.
Once again, we apologize for our audio, and we're working on correcting the audio problem that evidently is emanating here from Cincinnati. Now a runner at first and no one out, and the batter is Bo Diaz, a home run in last night's ball game. Bo Diaz hitting at .243 with 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Last night, the Reds stole 6 bases in the ball game, but of course Sid Fernandez was on the mound. Sid has no move at all. Bob Ojeda has a pretty good move at first. We'll see whether or not the Reds continue to run. This one popped up into short center. Mookie Wilson puts it away, and Osaski goes back to first.
As I mentioned earlier, Pete Rose allows a lot of his base runners to run on their own. He said they've proven they can do the job. He doesn't want to get in the way of the athlete. He wants the athlete to go out and perform to the best of his capabilities and not worry about the manager second-guessing him.
Even Osaski had a stolen base in last night's ball game, had only 3 last year.
We were talking before the ball game in the press room, and the Reds might have a more balanced team as far as speed is concerned than any team in baseball, including the Cardinals.
Now the batter will be Dave Concepcion. Dave hitting .207 with no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Veteran of 19 years with the Cincinnati Reds. And the first pitch just strike.
It's funny when you look at different organizations, you wouldn't think of the Reds as a running organization.
Well, you go back to the Big Red Machine, and they had Joe Morgan and a few others that ran.
It's funny, Joe Morgan never led the league in stolen bases, although he's third on the all-time list with 681.
Throw to first base is Osaski back.
In fact, you have to go back to 1970 and Bobby Pallone. He led the league for the Cincinnati Reds in stolen bases. But after that, you have to go all the way back to 1909 to find the Cincinnati Red that led the league in stolen bases.
the history of the Cincinnati Reds. And the ball by Ojeda out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. The first night game that was ever played in the major league was played right here in this ballpark on May 24th, 1935.
Well, not in this ballpark.
In this town, I should say. It was in Crosley Field. Incidentally, the first night game ever played in organized baseball was in 1930. There goes the runner, and the hit and run is on, and it's a double play. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. The double play ends the inning, 1 hit and no one left on base. The score at the end of 2. It's the Mets 1, the Reds nothing.
Well, there's a tough job right there. This young man, Rob Drumenhauser, is the bullpen catcher for the New York Mets. He was fielding balls behind the screen during batting practice in Atlantic. It hit the ball, hit the screen, went all the way through and hit him in the face and broke his nose, gave him a black eye. And the next day, he was warming up a pitcher, was hit in the neck by Randy Myers. He threw a curveball, bounced, hit him in the neck. Next day, they're in Tidewater, line drive, almost hit him in the head in the dugout.
Goes in 3s.
Oh, boy. He said he left that dugout with the clubhouse.
And the batter for the Mets is Kevin Elster. Kevin 8 for 11 in his last 11 at-bats, raising his average to 258 with 2 home runs, 8 runs batted in. 2 for 3 in last night's ball game, and he chases that screwball. 2-1.
How about that shiner right there? I think it's a great idea to have a bullpen catcher. Therefore, you won't get your other catchers hurt in the bullpen.
That's a terrible way to look at it.
Not if you're
looking at it. He doesn't look at it very well right there.
Not if you're the catcher of the bullpen, believe me.
Fastball foul back out of play, 1-2.
I believe the Yankees were the first team to have a bullpen catcher because they had a couple of guys in the bullpen a few years back in the late 70s and mid 70s that really didn't like to warm up pitchers. So they hired somebody to warm up the pitchers.
Tom Browning, the pitcher, and the fastball inside, 2-2. You're not mentioning any names there. Is it because of...
I'm not mentioning mine, I'll guarantee you, because I was one of them.
You were one of them.
No, I'd warm up the pitcher. I like pitchers.
This one has popped up in the shallow center field. Center fielder Eric Davis runs off the second baseman Concepcion. Probably said, let the sure man have it.
Well, you know, looking at outfielders and looking at any fielder, the guy usually that has the most putouts during the course of a season is a good center fielder. And the leader in putouts last year in the National League was the guy who just caught the ball, Eric Davis. He had 394 total chances.
And the batter for the Mets is Bob Ojeda, 2 for 7 so far this year.
He had 380 putouts, 10 assists, and 4 errors.
And the fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And he missed a lot of ball games last year. He only played in 128.
Two and one.
In fact,
128 games and hit 37 home runs and stole 50 bases. Drove in 100.
Well, there were whispers last year during the season that Eric Davis would take time off with minor injuries. And that was a disappointing thing for Pete Rose, the manager of the Reds. He feels that he wants this guy in the lineup even if he's 80 or 70% healthy because he's so good.
And it's strike 3. So Browning gets his second strikeout, the first and 9th men in the batting order.
Oh, a good pitch from Browning to Bobby Ojeda. Good breaking ball. You know, it's funny talking about whispers, Ralph. You know how that happens in baseball. The whispers start and they get louder and louder and louder, and then a player gets a bad reputation,
which he can never shed. Here's Mookie Wilson. Mookie struck out in the fastball his first time up. This time he goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Barry Larkin, the shortstop, makes the play, and the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Mets won, the Reds nothing.
Ball fight. Speaking of young ladies, congratulations to Tim and Joyce Schultz. Tim and Joyce, the proud parents of a little girl, Christian Claire Schultz, 8 pounds 13 ounces, born Thursday. Schultz, important part of a Sports Channel family. I'll tell you what, they've had a lot of births in the Sports Channel family. Speaking of the family, Ralph, about 4, 5, 6 children born. I mean, what are they doing on their off hours?
It's a growing concern. Either way you look at it.
That's right.
And the first pitch as Bob Ojeda works to Paul O'Neill, who was put into the lineup at the last minute when Tracy Jones was scratched because of a jammed finger. O'Neill hit .256 last year for the Reds in a total of 84 ball games with 7 home runs, 28 RBIs. O'Neill primarily a fine pinch hitter, hitting .262 so far this year with 3 home runs, with no home runs and 3 runs batted in. Goes after the curveball.
Well, Gary Carter told me before the ball game that this is a fastball hitting club, and this is what they're going to see most of the night. The off-speed breaking ball.
And this one popped up. Howard Johnson, the third baseman, making the call. So 1 away, and that'll bring up Lloyd McClendon. Lloyd McClendon used to be with the Mets, and what a story he's got. He played in the Little League World Series, and in 5 at-bats on 5 pitches hit 5 home runs. In the final playoff game, he hit a home run his first time at bat in his first pitch against Taiwan. They walked him his next 3 times up. Never got a chance to swing again, and Taiwan beat the American team in that World Series.
It's a great organization, the Little Leagues. And, of course, Taiwan usually dominates. Are they about 35 years old when they come over here and play?
And McClendon gets a base hit against the team that he originally signed with, the New York Mets. McClendon hitting .167 before the base hit, 1 for 6.
Oh, here you're going to see McClendon going the other way with this pitch. Long stride, glides into the ball, keeps his head on the ball, and pops the ball in the right field. You got a shot of the first base coach, Lee May, going over to talk to McClendon. Lee May at first. Tommy Helms is also a coach at this club. Tony Perez. There's about 10,000 hits sitting in a dugout, all retired.
And now the batter will be Tom Browning. The Mets looking for the sacrifice. And the pitch is taken for ball 1. Well, you have Pete Rose, who played 24 years.
Okay, Pete had over 4,000 hits.
You have Tony Perez, who played 23 years in the major leagues.
And he had over 2,000 hits.
There's Pete. Lee May started his career with Cincinnati, went to Houston, then to Baltimore, played for years and years.
Lee May had 1,200 hits, and Tommy Helms had 1,300 hits. I was surprised that Tommy Helms had more than Lee.
And a swing. The ball off the glove of Johnson, a fair ball. McClendon comes to third. He's coming home. The throw is in time, and Carter blocks the plate. Great job by Carter as he blocks the plate. And Clendenin is out on the play. Browning ends up at third base.
Well, an outstanding throw and a good block of home plate. We'll have to take another look at it because McClendon is saying that Gary Carter was in the middle of home plate. He might have a point. From our vantage point, it looked to me like he might not have gotten down in front of home plate on the third base side. Here's the camera angle. Well, it's a tough shot. It looks like Gary got him there. Well, I'll tell you, Gary Carter enjoys that home plate collision, doesn't he? Outstanding play. Here's another angle. Good throw from Kevin McReynolds. And it's obviously a bang-bang play. Now, Gary catches it in front. Oh, he got in front of home plate. Perfect. He was out.
Had that knee right in front of the plate. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah, good play by Gary Carter in blocking the plate, and an excellent play by Kevin McReynolds.
Browning trails the play and is on third base, but 2 men out, and the batter will be Barry Larkin. That play by McReynolds and Carter, keeping the Reds from scoring. The Mets leading 1-0. And Barry Larkin, who grounded out his first time up batting for the second time. And a base hit. So Larkin drives in the run from third to tie it with 2 men out here in the third.
Once again, the pitch out over the plate to Barry Larkin. He slaps the ball in the hole and picks up an RBI.
The Reds have a 2-game losing streak going. They have not won more than 2 in a row so far this year, and they have not lost more than 2 in a row so far this year. So the game tied at 1, and the batter will be Chris Zabel. As Carter and Ojeda talk it over. Zabel grounded out his first time up. Larkin the threat to steal, the runner at first. And Ojeda throws over. Ojeda has balked twice so far this year. The Mets have had 13 balks. Philadelphia, the only team in the National League not to have a balk called against them.
You got to watch Larkin. He can run.
So Ojeda goes to his other move and throws over to first. So he's used both of his moves against Larkin.
6 stolen bases in last night's ball game for the Reds.
They lead the National League in stolen bases with 43. There goes the runner, and the ball is bunted perfectly. They have to let it roll. And it rolls foul. So a perfect try by Chris Zabel. And when you're bunting for a base hit, you either have to make a perfect bunt or foul it.
Well, you had Howard Johnson back. And if the ball stays fair, he has a base hit, and the Reds have runners on first and second. Larkin was in motion, diving into second base, and look at the roll on that ball.
If that ball had stayed fair, Larkin might have ended up at third. So a 1-strike count. Larkin again with a good-sized lead. And there's a quick pitch. A balk is called. There's no doubt about that one. So the third balk called against Bob Ojeda, and he never stopped at all in that.
Now, it's funny. The mentality really is you can come to the complete stop because it's going to be a pitch out. Just get it to the catcher in a hurry and give him a good pitch to handle. But Bobby felt he had to get the ball so fast he wouldn't stop, and he got the ball to Carter. Consequently, he balked Larkin to second base.
So the runner in scoring position. And it was just a couple of weeks ago that Bob Ojeda had 2 balks called on him and was taken out of the ball game. Threw his glove into the stands.
I'm sure a lot of fans are hoping he will get tossed out of this one.
It has bothered Bob more than anybody on the Mets staff. And that pitch low, and they count 1 ball, 1 strike. He also trashed his glove one time on another point where he was hot. And he said, if my glove were a dog, they'd call the Humane Society on it.
It's amazing how you ruin your equipment when you're mad.
Ground ball toward third. Tough play if it stays fair, but it does go foul. One ball game. 2 men out. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. Reds with the go-ahead run at second base, and the count of 1-2 on Chris Zabel. Zabel, a hockey player in his youth, and a good one. He was a goaltender.
Should be a good low ball hitter if he was a hockey player. Right now, Eric Gregg is having words with somebody in the Cincinnati dugout.
I wonder if it goes back to the play at the plate.
Has to.
That is McClendon. So evidently McClendon's still arguing with Eric Gregg, and from the angle of our camera shot, Carter had him blocked off. He did not get in there.
Eric Gregg, who lost a lot of weight, might lose some more tonight.
He carries a lot of weight.
He does.
2 ways. Fastball, and he got him. So Ojeda sneaks a fastball by in the inside corner, and that'll end the inning. 1 run scores on 3 hits. 1 man left at second, and the score at the end of 3. The Reds won, the New York Mets won. Top of the fourth, and coming in now, a man who has blocked many a plate, Tim McCarver.
Now I'm blocking plates in the press room, as a matter of fact. Here's Tim Tuffle, 1-1 ball game, top of the fifth, and there's a strike, 0-1.
Fine play by Gary Carter there.
It really was. Really was. Boy, this one ripped into left center. See if Tuffle will stop it first, and he does, with Davis retrieving the ball. As a matter of fact, Ralphie, my boy, I think it's worth one more look. What do you think?
No doubt about it. Textbook.
I don't really see what the complaint was. Gary had McClendon blocked off beautifully, it appeared. What would have been his argument, really, when you think about it?
All he could argue would be that he got his foot into the plate.
Yeah.
But he never did, because on the other angle that we showed earlier, Carter clearly had his leg down in front of the plate, and he never got to it.
Here's Keith Hernandez. He flied to left his first at bat, and the tight fastball misses. Outstanding play by Gary Carter. Bobby Ojeda knows that. When you make a play like that, the pitcher comes over and sits next to you between innings. If you don't make good plays down at the other end of the bench.
Absolutely.
Strawberry.
Well, on the hit and run play, the batter has to anticipate who might be covering, and in this case, Keith thought Concepcion would cover. For the left-hand pitcher, the odds are that Keith will hit toward the left field side, but in this case, they guessed right, figured right, or whatever, and Keith grounds out.
The straw man doubled and scored a run in the second. It's a 1-1 ball game, 1 out, 1 on here in the fourth inning. Tom Browning against Bob Ojeda. Outside, ball 1. If you're at a ball game and you're sitting in the low left field stands or the low right field stands, you can often pick up who's covering if you watch the shortstop and second baseman. Tapper right side, easy play for Osaski. As Tuffle moves to third, there are 2 outs, and the batter, Kevin McReynolds.
I would assume the veteran Concepcion would make the call on who is to cover.
Yep, unless you got a left-handed pull hitter up, where the shortstop would be behind second, and Concepcion would be actually taken away from seeing the signs flashed by Bo Diaz. The open mouth would be, you got it, and the closed mouth is, I got it, or me. I'll take it. Kind of fun to come out and pick up a sign. Impress people that you come with.
And if you are inclined to bet, you might make a little money if you get that advanced sign.
There's a strike, 1-1 to Kevin McReynolds, who flied to right on a great play by Paul O'Neill in the second inning. Low, ball 2. Tom Browning from Casper, Wyoming, 10-13 last year, bothered by elbow problems. Inside corner, strike 2. 2-2 to McReynolds. Big crowd on hand here at Riverfront. Outside, 3-2. So the count's full on McReynolds with Tuffle at third and 2 outs. Carter on deck. Outside of opening day, we understand this may be the largest crowd of the season. Ground ball up the middle, base hit, and the Mets retake the lead, 2-1. That's good hitting right there.
McReynolds had been 0 for 5 in this series. Right here, he takes his screwball and hits it right up the middle and picks up a big 2-out RBI. McReynolds got his 9th run batted in with that base hit, and the Mets regain the lead.
Here we're talking about it over the last couple of days about why a 2-out RBI, as you see McReynolds at first, Carter the batter, why it's important. Because you have to get a hit for the most part to score the runner. Carter now rips one to left. McReynolds stops at second. No RBIs are cheap, but with a runner on third and a sacrifice fly, you could score a run. A ground out, you see it in the early innings. An error sometimes will score the run. Of course, it was scored from third, too, with 2 outs.
And there's another hard-hit ball by Carter. He had driven in the first run with a sacrifice fly back in the second inning. And Carter picking up his 22nd hit of the year.
So Howard Johnson, with 2 on and 2 out, looking for his first hit ever against Tom Browning. Screwball inside park. Hojo is 0 for 18 lifetime against Browning.
You know, Tracy Jones, who was scratched from this ball game, went 0 for 27 from his start of a career against the Mets before he finally got his first hit in his 28th at bat and was off to White Gooden.
Fly ball, make that 0 for 19 as Davis catches up with this fly ball. But the Mets score once and take the lead. They strand a couple. It's 2-1 New York, middle of the 4th.
Two days to make a money-saving deal on the Toyota you want. But you got to make your move now. Toyota dealers are clearing out their stock of cars, trucks, and vans with deal after money-saving deal. With only 2 days left, they'll be open extra hours.
I think it's worth taking a different look at that play that Gary Carter made with McClendon trying to score.
Now that's a bunt situation. The Mets looking for the sacrifice. Browning swings away. It's off of Howard Johnson's glove. McClendon coming all the way from first, and the throw in is in time. And now watch where Carter puts that leg. McClendon claimed that he got to the base, but he did not. He did not get to home plate.
Yeah, you could see, boy, that's the best shot right there. And a great play by Carter, inching that shin guard up and using it as a shield. 0-1 to Eric Davis, who flied to center his first at bat. It's 2-1 New York. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tight, too tight. 1-1 to Eric Davis. Well hit, deep to left, but not deep enough. Got it off the end of the bat. I thought that he got that on the sweep part a little bit more than he did. Headed upward bound instead of outward bound. 1 out.
It was that little change of pace, and he's out in front of it, and he gets out there and makes a good move at it and hits it off the end of the bat. Didn't have that full follow through that you need to drive the ball.
Really got a deep pitch in his swing, doesn't he?
He's got a deep circle there.
Here's Nick Osaski. He singled in the 2nd inning and then was eventually doubled up on a hit-and-run line drive by Concepcion. 1-0 to Nick Osaski. One and one.
Reds benched Cal Daniels in this game with a left-hander going. Cal off to a slow start after a great season last year.
After a great first week, too. He was 11 for 18 the first week of the season. He has really been struggling since, but he'll be back in there against the doctor tomorrow. Dwight Gooden against the former Yankee Dennis Rasmussen. The matchup tomorrow, then the Mets head home. Ground ball to short. Elster throws out Osaski. 2 quick outs here in the 4th. And the batter, Bo Diaz.
Dennis's grandfather was a Major League Baseball player for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Boston Braves. A third baseman named Bill Brubaker. Bill built my swimming pool in Palm Springs.
Is that a fact? Mm-hmm. Obviously a grandfather on his mother's
side. Yes. Unless he changed his name. There was a Rasmussen that changed his name, but it was his first name.
Mm-hmm. Eric, don't call me Harry Rasmussen. Diaz flied to center field his first at bat. It's 2-1 New York, bottom of the 4th. Beautiful night for baseball or anything. Gorgeous here. Ball and no strikes to Diaz.
I told you there was going to be a spring.
I mean, it is beautiful. No humidity. Got 75 today. A few clouds in the sky.
And back in 1969 on this date, Reds history, Jim Maloney pitched a no-hit game against the Astros at Frosley Field.
One of 3 that he pitched in his career. Howard Johnson throws out Bo Diaz, and an easy inning for Bobby Ojeda. So after 4 here at Riverfront, the Queen City, it's 2-1 New York.
And the Yankees host Pete Incaviglia and the Texas Rangers. That's the Bombers and Rangers tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 live on Sports Channel. Your stop for a Subway Series summer.
Well, one never knows. It could be a Subway Series. It could be an Oakland Bay Series. Also, Oakland and San Francisco, 2 picks. But the San Francisco Giants off to a sputtering start. A ball and no strikes to Kevin Elster, who flied to center his first at bat. Ball 2. Rapidly moving ball game finds the Mets on top 2-1. Popped up. He had a pitch to hit then. Chris Sabo, the third baseman, in foul territory, makes the play. 1 away here in the 5th, and the batter Bobby Ojeda. Ralph, I guess when you see that excellent block of home plate by Gary Carter, you think of a guy who probably blocked it better than anybody that I ever played against, John Roseboro of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you can kind of tie that in on what happened last week as far as the New York Mets are concerned, because John Roseboro's son, ball 1 to Ojeda, Jamie Roseboro, is leading the South Atlantic League in hitting. Grounded into right for Ojeda. Jamie Roseboro, the son of John Roseboro, batting .457, leading the league in slugging. He's an outfielder for Columbia, the Mets Class A team.
So Ojeda gets a base hit, his 3rd in 10 at-bats this year. And the Mets also have Lee May's son in their organization.
Yeah. Scott Jaster, who shut out the Dodgers 5 times back in 1966, is also Scott Jaster, the son of Larry Jaster. Larry was the pitcher who shut out the Dodgers. Scott, his son. I said Scott didn't shut him out. Larry did. Scott's playing for the Mets also. All sorts of former major leaguers that have sons playing minor league ball. 0-1 to Mookie Wilson with Ojeda at first and 1 out. 2-1 New York. Outside, 1-1. Also a young pitcher down in Columbia, Julio Valera. Kind of tucked that word away, or that name. Struck out 20 in 2 games last week. 1-2 to Mookie Wilson.
Sounds like you've been reading the sporting news.
I've been reading the notes. Jay, little add-in.
You don't ever believe anything Jay puts in there, do you?
Our crack stat man. Grounded a second, it could be 2. Larkin to Concepcion, back to Asaski. So a nicely turned double play for the Rojos, and they trail 2-1, middle of the 5th.
Well, you're the kind of man that likes to do things your own way, and you can bet it's
Davey Johnson and Sam Perlazzo, his third base coach, looking on at Davey, quite pleased with the performance of his ball club. They won 5 of 6 on this road trip. And his counterpart on the other side of the field, Pete Rose, not as pleased. The Reds have lost 2 in a row. They haven't won 2 in a row or lost 2 in a row this season, any more than that. And the last remnant of the Big Red Machine will lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th. Davy Concepcion.
Incidentally, when Mookie Wilson hit into that double play, it was the second time that he's hit into a double play this year.
Strike on the corner. No balls, 1 strike to Davy Concepcion. Tight. Ball 1.
See on Concepcion's blouse is for captain of the team.
We're right on the corner. Davey questioning Eric Gregg. Look to me only with thine eyes.
There it is, right on that outside corner, and a strike called by Eric Gregg.
Line to right center. Wilson over, and he can't get to it. Strawberry will have to field it, and he's going to hold Concepcion to a double.
Well, Mookie making a real tough try for this. Can't quite get to it. He comes up with burns on this one as he skids on the artificial turf. Good cutoff by Strawberry as he gets it back into Tuffle, and Concepcion has to settle for a double. Concepcion picking up his 3rd 3-base hit of the year, and now the time run at second with no one out.
Paul O'Neill, the batter. He popped to 3rd his first at bat. Had an idea about bunting. Lloyd McClendon, the number 8 hole hitter, is on deck. 1 ball, no strikes to Paul O'Neill. That would have been for a base hit and not the sacrifice. Even though had he gotten it down and Concepcion had moved over, a sacrifice would have been given. Lined up the middle, base hit. Concepcion will stop at 3rd, and O'Neill stops at 1st. The Reds have runners at 1st and 3rd and nobody out.
Well, the Reds get their 6th hit as a fastball is hit right by Bob Ojeda. Ball hit so hard that Mookie gets to it and gets it in, and Concepcion held at 3rd. So runners at 1st and 3rd with no one out, and McClendon coming up.
McClendon a base hit to right field and then was cut down on the double by Tom Browning. Tom doubled in a bunting situation, and McClendon came all the way around only to be erased on a nice block of home by Gary Carter. Changeup foul back.
McClendon coming to the Cincinnati Ball Club in the Tom Seaver trade that saw Tom come back to the Mets.
No balls, 1 strike to Lloyd McClendon. Grounded foul, 0-2. Concepcion at 3rd. Paul O'Neill with good speed at first base. It's a 2-1 tenuous Met lead here in the bottom of the 5th. None out. Grounded to short, it could be 2. Elster to Tuffle to Hernandez. No RBI, but the Reds tied at 2.
Well, the Mets set up for the double play, and they get it. Ball is hit right at Kevin Elster, and he turns it over to Tuffle. And the double play gives the Mets their 2nd out of the inning as a run scored.
So Tom Browning, the batter. Tom doubled and eventually scored on a single by Barry Larkin in the third inning. 2-2 game. 0-1 to Browning. Ground ball, right side. Hernandez to Ojeda, and he makes the play. But the Reds tied on 1 run, 2 hits, and after 5 innings of play, a rapidly moving game here at Riverfront in Cincinnati. 2-2.
Ever notice that all Japanese
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies have defeated Atlanta by a score of 7-5. Phillies started their action a game and a half back of Chicago in 5th place, and Atlanta still having their problems. Atlanta now 3-16 for the year. Chicago defeated San Francisco 2-1. That's a final. And also on the schedule, Montreal and Houston, Pittsburgh and San Diego, and St. Louis against the Dodgers in Los Angeles.
Tim Tuffle, who just wears Browning out, is the batter. Lifetime, Timmy is 10 for 18 with the hit tonight against Tom Browning. Tonight he has flied deep to left, and he singled and scored a run in the 4th. Now that includes those 10 hits, 3 home runs and 3 doubles. Another base hit for Tuffle against Browning. And Tom just kind of shakes his head saying, what am I going to do? 11 for 19 against Browning now, lifetime.
Well, Tim has hit the ball hard 3 times and is 2 for 3, showing signs of coming out of his slump. He doubled in the 9th inning last night to set it up for the Mets to win it on Keith Hernandez single. And Tuffle now getting the bat on the ball. Had a fine year last year, got off to a terrible start this year.
Hernandez 0 for 2. So we'll see if the hit and run is in order once again. Snap throw over there. Interesting that both Concepcion and Larkin put the gloves in front of their mouth.
I think Concepcion's giving the signs, though. He stayed up there longer. Maybe not.
Throw to first, Tuffle back. I'll tell you, if it is a hit and run, Tim Tuffle can't get picked off.
You can't get picked off in a hit and run play. The main thing to do in a hit and run play is you got to make sure the ball is pitched to the plate. You're not trying to steal a base. You have to be protected by the hitter.
Take a look at Barry Larkin there. Now seeing peek in. Now he's gotten the sign, and Larkin indeed is giving it. That means Concepcion would be covering. Should Tuffle run? The open mouth given to Concepcion, saying, Davey, you cover in case Tuffle is running.
Now Concepcion's over there to talk to Larkin. And the last time that the situation arose with Hernandez up and Tuffle on, Hernandez pulled the ball, and the shortstop was covering second, and Concepcion was in position to field the ball.
It was because it was a breaking ball that he hit. Breaking ball, you're more inclined to pull. So we'll see here. That means he's got it. Grounded. Good play. Asaski to Larkin. Back to first. No. Browning says no. Or I beg your pardon. Dave Pallone said no. It appeared to me that Browning was on the bag, but evidently he straddled it.
This is well executed by Asaski. He's not noted for the glove, but he makes a good pickup and fires it down to Larkin. A good throw. Larkin gets it off, even though the slide by Tuffle makes it tough on him. And Browning has a bag straddle.
Oh, man.
I don't know. It's pretty close.
It was close, wasn't it?
It looked like he tried to kick the bag, and maybe did, but it certainly was very, very tough to pick up. He's lucky he didn't get that leg either stepped on or hit.
Good takeout by Tuffle.
Very good play by Tuffle. The throw's there in time, but Browning has the bag straddled, and now he tries to get to it. Wow. And I don't know whether he got it or not. That's one of those replays where you really can't tell.
No, that's true. Not many, but that's one.
Incidentally, on the last out of the game last night, Barry Larkin stepped on Keith Hernandez at first. Keith got spiked and ended up with a cut.
Terry Leach now is warming up. So Keith going across his chest. A lot of signs this inning. This is fun. See Keith going across his chest, asking Sam Perlazzo, the third base coach, to repeat the sign. Sam's already talked to Darryl Strawberry. I can't really think of what would be on here.
The Strawberry sort of a sit and wait and let's see what happens type hitter.
Strike to Darryl, 0-1.
You're looking for the home run from Darryl and not the hit and run play.
Inside, 1-1.
You don't figure Hernandez be looking for the steal sign, do you?
Not hardly, even though he had a career-high 19 stolen bases back in 1979, I believe. Deep to right. Deep back is O'Neill, and this ball is out of here. A two-run homer for Darryl Strawberry, and the Mets lead it 4-2.
A patented home run by Darryl Strawberry, the towering fly ball that keeps on traveling. And the reason why his balls travel so much is because of the uppercut swing that puts backspin on the ball. And it'll add about 30 to 40 feet to a routine fly ball if you get the backspin. And the backspin is there, and Darryl hits it a ton in the air. Second home run given up by Browning this year, and the Mets regain the lead.
Well, a home run no stranger to Browning. He gave up 27 last year. McReynolds hits one to left field, but this one was not that much airborne, and McClendon makes the play. Boy, he hit a rope out there, but didn't get it up.
Check out Darryl Strawberry's uppercut swing. There it comes from high to low and then back up to high again. That is a bona fide home run hitter swing, an uppercut swing.
Gary Carter, the batter. Low, ball one. Gary 1 for 1, sacrifice fly in the second. And if you remember a couple of years ago, he set an all-time Mets record with sacrifice flies, and this one hit Carter, and that could have been intentional. Browning will do that. Carter not giving him the pleasure of thinking that it hurts. So Gary at first with 2 outs.
Well, it's an unwritten rule, and that's where you can hit a batter every time. You throw for the small of the back, you just cannot get out of the way. And it was right in tight on him, and Browning got him.
Howard Johnson, the batter. He's 0 for 2 in this game, 0 for 19 lifetime against Tom Browning. On the corner. Jose Rijo now up and throwing for the Reds. 4-2 New York. Darryl Strawberry double scored a run in the second and a 2-run homer, a towering home run here in the 6th. Screwball misses, 1-1.
The way Tuffle hits Browning and the way that Johnson does not hit him, they ought to switch uniforms.
Try and trick him. Popped up in the infield. Larkin waving off Concepcion, and Barry makes the play. But the Mets scored 2 on 2 hits, and they strand 1. So after 5.5, they take the lead again on that man, and I mean it was a tremendously.
Terry Leach in relief of Bob Ojeda. And Leach comes in with a record of no wins, no losses, no saves, an earned run average of 8.18. He's worked 11 innings, given up 18 hits, walking 2 and striking out 7. Terry Leach as Bob Ojeda leaves the game after 5 on the winning side. Checking out the scores in the American League. The top of the second, the Yankees leading Texas 2-0. California 6, Toronto 1, a final score. Oakland 11, Cleveland 3, a final. Milwaukee 4, Kansas City 1, a final. And it's Boston 8, Minnesota 3, a final. Baltimore in the top of the 4th inning, trailing the White Sox 2-1. Baltimore winning last night to break that 21-game losing streak. And Detroit won Seattle nothing, top of the 3rd.
Barry Larkin leads it off for the Reds here in the bottom of the 6th. Strike one. Interesting situation here. If Ojeda were still in the ball game, he would probably retaliate for Carter's being hit. Since Leach is in there, a new pitcher, don't think it's going to happen, and it hasn't yet. 1-1 to Larkin.
With the new rule, you can be thrown out of the ball game if the umpire thinks you were throwing on purpose.
Could have been thrown out. They could have thrown Tom Browning out of the game. No warning is necessary. Ground ball right side. Tuffle. Hernandez. Boy, you got to love the way Larkin gets down the line. He really busted every time. 1 out. And the batter, Chris Sabo, who was 0 for 2 on the evening. And Ralph, I was telling you the other day, he's a scratch golfer. He told me before the game that's wrong. He's a 2.
Yeah, they're all that way.
He's a 2. Well, this guy can play.
That's like Johnny Bench saying he's a 7 handicapper and he's a scratch player.
Oh, and Hernandez on a great play comes back to tag Sabo.
Well, Keith says Howard Johnson a costly error here. Mets leading by 2 runs, 4-2. And Johnson, when he has a lot of time, does not make those good accurate throws. And Keith has to come off the bag to get it and makes a good tag of Sabo coming down the line.
Boy, he almost tagged him when the foot hit the bag. A lot of times you can hyperextend an elbow like that, and Keith wincing a bit over there, and I think he did.
He's flexing that left arm right now. So he's flexing that left arm, and that could have been the elbow.
Ball and no strikes to Davis. Now Eric takes outside for ball 2. 2-0 to Eric Davis. As we all know, you don't have to be a baseball player to know that that arm will not bend one way. It only bends at the elbow when you flex it towards you, right?
Right here, here's the replay of the tag. Now he comes back and puts that left arm in front of the runner.
Right arm.
Make that the right arm, yes. And holds onto the ball. And now Keith, after that, did flex it, but he appears to be all right. We have a report on Bob Ojeda. He did not leave the game because of any problem with his arm or his leg. He had a deep bruise, but he does have a cold, and he was tiring, so they thought they would make that move.
Okay. 3-2. Yeah, one would think it was his leg, because I saw Bobby in the whirlpool the last few days in Atlanta on Wednesday night. Last night here in Cincinnati.
In his last start against St. Louis, his second batter was Ozzie Smith, and Ozzie bunted the ball, and Ojeda ran into, or vice versa, Magadan, and had to leave the ball game because of that deep bruise.
Inside, Eric Davis walks, and that's probably a double with Leach's motion.
Davis picks up his 16th walk of the year. Had a stolen base in last night's ball game and has 8 stolen bases in 9 attempts.
Eric now tied for the league lead in walks with teammate Cal Daniels. Look for him to run. There he goes. Fastball's a strike. The throw not in time. Just outran the ball.
Had 50 stolen bases last year in 129 games. And right here, this is the 7th stolen base against the Mets in 2 games of this series. And that is his 9th in 10 tries this year.
No balls, 1 strike to Nick Asaski. Strike on the corner. And now Carter wants to talk to Leach about the signs, obviously. May have crossed Gary up on that. It's 0-2 to Asaski. 4-2, New York on top. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mets trying to make it 2 in a row against the Reds. seam. So Leach, for his first strikeout, strands Davis at second. And after 6 innings of play, it's 4-2. The New Yorkers on top of the Cincinnatians. Is in left field now, and the left fielder that started the game, Lloyd McClendon, is now the catcher. Bo Diaz is out of there, and we'll try to find out what's wrong with Bo. And I guess Pete Rose made this move because another catcher's in, Fran Healy.
Okay,
that's
Jim.
what you were talking to him about before the game.
That's exactly right.
I said, make a move for a catcher when I come in.
Involve me in the switch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the batter is Kevin Elster. Elster in this ball game fly to center field and pop to third base. He's been hot lately with the bat, and he takes a strike. 1-1. He's batting .250. Outside, 2-1 to the Mets shortstop. Tom Browning pitching a fine ball game for the Reds. Bobby Ojeda pitched well for the Mets and just ran out of gas. Kevin Elster lifts one to left field. Garcia makes the play, 1 down. And with 1 man down, the batter will be Terry Leach. His first at bat since coming in the ball game. Tom Browning mixing his pitches up well tonight. Fastball, curveball, slider, and the screwball, and right there Terry Leach takes a strike. Terry batting .083.
Fran, I don't, excuse me, Franny, I don't know whether Browning's ever going to get the form back that he had in 1985 when he won 20 games. The first rookie to win 20 since Bob Grimm of the Yankees did it back in '54.
Strike 3, 2 down. And Bob Grimm, speaking of Bob Grimm, in 1954, when he won his 20 ball games, I guess about 4 rookie pitchers won over 20 games and did not win the Rookie of the Year award. This guy has won. Vince Coleman won it the year Browning won 20 games. And the year Bob Grimm won 20 games, he did win the Rookie of the Year award. It's been a long time since a pitcher won 20 games his first year in the major leagues. Mookie Wilson, the batter, with 2 men down, and Mookie takes a strike from Browning. Well, the Reds have a strong ball club this year. They have a couple of guys that are very cold right now, Eric Davis and Cal Daniels. If they get hot, they're going to be tough. 1-1 on Mookie Wilson. Fly ball, right center field. Eric Davis, who catches everything, gets to, oh boy, the ball's off his glove. O'Neill probably distracted him, and Mookie Wilson's on third base. That guy right there led the league in putouts last year and only played 128 games out.
Yeah, but because of that, this ball's not his ball. It's hit by a right-handed hitter, and the ball's coming back to O'Neill. Little miscommunication right there. That's O'Neill's ball.
But they say if the center fielder calls for it.
Well, it looked like O'Neill was doing the calling. The ball is going back to the right fielder, and sometimes you're so talented as a center fielder, you cover so much ground that things like that could happen.
Well, Mookie's on third base, and Tim Tuffle's the batter. 2 men out, a break for the Mets. They give him a triple? Yep.
Yeah, the way it ended up, it should be a triple, I guess, but gosh, as far as Tom Browning's concerned, that ball's got to be caught. Well, a lot tougher play for Eric Davis tonight.
Uh-oh, look at this.
He called a balk on him. Oh, boy. I think it was because of the split hands, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That might be the first time we've seen that type of balk called this year.
I'd like to hear this.
Pete's saying, was he out of the batter's box when the balk was called? Or did he step back out of the box?
But if he steps back, the umpire has to call time.
That's right. And you can step back and still be in the batter's box.
That's right. And even if you step out, time's still not called unless the umpire calls it.
Here it is.
See, he didn't call time.
He didn't call time, And Eric Gregg, the home plate umpire, says that he made the motion before Tuffle stepped back, evidently.
So Tom Browning walking in the 5th run for the Mets, and the Mets lead the Reds 5-2 here in the top of the 7th inning.
Rob Murphy now warming for the Reds. Well, that was an unusual balk. Here it is again. See, he did lean forward, but he thought by Tuffle stepping back that he could go ahead and step off the rubber. But once you lean forward, you're committed to throw the ball, and Eric Gregg called it on. That was close.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. He's thrown him out of the game.
Yep, Browning's gone.
Look at this. Look at Darryl Strawberry. Uh-oh, we got a fight. Strawberry wants Browning.
Well, somebody's got somebody.
Well, they better grab a hold of Strawberry. He came flying out of that dugout.
Well, Browning's going to be fine. I mean, that was about as intentional a hit batsman.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was about as intentional as could be. So it's just a matter of time before Browning gets his.
He's going to take it out on Tuffle because he balked? Come on. Well, I'll tell you one
good point. That's an excellent point.
And you know, Tim, he hopes that the fine is the least of his worries or the most of his worries, because this guy here gets his hands on him. Oh boy, Darryl Strawberry came out of that dugout like he was shot out of a gun. Usually the hitter starts out towards the pitcher and then a fight takes place. All of a sudden, boom, Strawberry came out of that dugout sprinting after Downey.
Well, he had thrown close to Strawberry earlier. So now Pete is saying that if you're going to kick Browning out of the game, you got to kick Strawberry out. And they may kick Strawberry out. That's what Kibler is saying now. He's pointing to the dugout. You know, it's interesting. Rose went out there. You see Strawberry pointing. He's not pointing to anybody but one guy.
It looks like he's going to stay in the game, Tim. He was putting his helmet on as you look at Tim Tuffle. I'd be very upset if I were Tuffle.
Strawberry is gone now. They've kicked Strawberry out of the game for charging the mound.
Well, Tom Browning.
See, that's the second hit batsman, too. Gary Carter got it also.
That's right.
So Darryl not only defending himself, he's defending the hitters, too. Now, Davey Johnson has an argument with the umpires. John Kibler said he was the one who made the move to kick Darryl Strawberry out of the game.
Is Pete Rose out of the game, too?
I don't think so. No. You do have the right this year to kick the manager and the pitcher out, however. Well, this is about as flagrant. See, that's just a flagrant. Tuffle had hit him well. He was 11 for 19 against him, so all of those things combined. And Browning will get a suspension for that. If he doesn't, something's wrong. That's too flagrant.
You know, Tim, watching this tonight now, he hit Carter, came close to Strawberry. He threw at Tuffle, hit Tuffle. If you're catching for the Mets, you got to protect your own hitters.
No,
you got to lead.
Not tonight.
I would. There's a lead. 5-3 lead. I'd protect.
We got a 5-2 lead, actually.
5-2 lead.
No, I picked my spot. The game's more important.
I agree.
The game's the most important thing.
I agree. But there's a spot where you have to protect your hitters, too.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
If you can kick the catcher and the pitcher out, we'll see what Terry Leach and the manager might not have any more players left. Anyway, Rob Murphy in relief of Tom Browning. Going for the announcers next. So Murphy 0-1 on the year. He took the loss last night on the Hernandez base hit after the Tuffle double. The most salient point, I think, of this inning is your point about hitting Tim Tuffle after the balk. Because obviously frustration set in and he balked in a run. It wasn't Tuffle's fault. But the interesting thing is Rose went out to talk to Browning and then went back to the bench. I don't think Pete would say go ahead and hit him, but Browning might have told him that I'm going to plunk him. Eric Gregg does all he can. The umpires do all they can. Look at Tracy Jones in there. Tracy Jones looked like he might have gotten a pop in.
Well, it looked like he just
maybe grazed him, trying to hold him back.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that's not a good shot either. You got Davey Concepcion trying to break it up and Tracy Jones throwing a punch at him. Well,
baseball, you know, a lot's been said. And I'm one of those that if you're going to have a fight, forget anybody who comes off the bench. In that case, everybody would have been run. I don't know if baseball, as you see Tracy Jones. But anybody who comes off the bench, other than the combatants, if they're automatically removed like in hockey, then you'd have a one-on-one situation and not group fights. That's group violence, man. That's bad.
There wouldn't be too many fights if they allowed them to go one-on-one.
No, you're right. That's kind of my point.
That's right. Well, Tracy Jones came shooting out into the fight. There goes Tom Browning after having a carnival-like night throwing at Met players.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, Bobby Ojeda would have certainly protected his players in the bottom of the sixth for Carter being hit. But when we brought it up, we said that if Terry Leach, being the new pitcher, it's kind of not, you know, it's unusual for him to come in and all of a sudden plunk somebody, especially the leadoff hitter. The guy you want to get is the pitcher. He's the guy who threw the ball.
And Murphy checks Tuffle at first base. I'll tell you, if they don't go back at the Reds tonight, I'd be careful with the guy in the mound tomorrow for the Mets, because he'll protect the Met hitters. Dwight Gooden.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the ideal thing is to wait until Browning. We're not trying to stir things up, folks. We're just telling you the way things are and leave you to decide what option will be taken, because I'll guarantee you something somewhere along the line. As a matter of fact, Browning hit Len Dykstra last year in spring training, not this past spring training, and both benches emptied, and Dykstra went to the mound.
And they got Tuffle off first, throw to second in time. Good play, good tag by Larkin on a good throw from Asaski. And that'll do it for the Mets here in the top of the seventh. But they've picked up a couple more runs. They now lead the Reds 5-2, and we'll be back.
It's time for Lifestyles of the Original Party Animal with the Grand Poobah Pardiometer.
Well, Mookie Wilson moving from center field to right field, and now the new center fielder, Lenny Dykstra. 5-2, the Mets on top of the Reds, and Davey Johnson talking to Mel Stoudemire between innings was not very happy. And there's a ball bunted. Terry Leach makes the play, and Garcia's out, scored 1-3. Looked like Keith almost dropped that ball. One down.
You know, there are varying thoughts on this whole thing, and Fran and I were both catchers, and you know, it's just hard to say what to do unless you're down there. Terry Leach, if the Mets have had the award for the least violent pitcher, it would be Terry Leach.
That's right.
Do protect your players, but the game is the paramount thing.
Davey Concepcion takes a strike. I agree with you. In this particular case, Gary Carter was hit. Strawberry was thrown at.
Well, you don't know about Straw.
Okay.
He thinks he was, which, you know, it could be.
Tim Tuffle was hit. After a while, you got
definitely tough.
Yeah, you got to say, well, we got to put a stop to it. I mean, one guy.
Well, the stop's already been put by the umpires.
Unless the pitcher decides to drill somebody.
No, I mean, unless a Met pitcher does, or, well, I mean, you know, I just don't think that that's going to happen intentionally. It might.
No, it will never happen intentionally. Back to Leach, scored 1-3.
However, I think the next time that Tom Browning faces the Mets, that there's a pretty good shot that something might happen. Or if the heat's too much on, then somewhere down the line in the next summer.
Well, next week the Reds are in New York, but I think the microscope will be on that particular game. Browning pitches, so
well, it
might
will be
right.
if we keep bringing it up. We keep talking like this, we're going to incite somebody. Well, they're in next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so there's a pretty good shot that Browning may start Friday's game. And it's a pretty good chance also that Dwight Gooden might be his opponent. So you may not want to have Gooden, who throws as hard as he does, your opponent when you've got a team that's incited. And as I said, we're not trying to incite anything. We're just trying to explain
That's right.
the way the game is. Because these guys don't forget. When you get thrown at intentionally, you do not forget those things.
Of course, this was, I guess, reminiscent of the altercation here a few years ago in Cincinnati. Remember Ray Knight popped Eric Davis on third base? Paul O'Neill, the batter, and he gets another foul ball out of play, so it's 1-2. O'Neill 1 for 2 in this game. Well, he had a rope his last time up.
Actually, in that place a couple of years ago, Eric Davis stole third and came up where Ray Knight thought it was too hard. And Ray Knight was the one who got the first pop in, right, even though Davis did slide in awfully hard.
Right on a chin he hit him.
That was the game that Roger McDowell and Jesse Orozco both played right field.
That was an exciting game, especially when they had the pitchers moving around.
Carter played third, and I think Darryl Strawberry was ejected from that game on a ball and strike count.
Well, it's 1-2 on O'Neill. O'Neill from Columbus, Ohio. He gets jammed, picks up another base hit. He's a good-looking hitter. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Well, Paul O'Neill now on first base with his second hit of the game.
Well, it is serve and volley in tennis now, right? Nice little serve.
Well, Paul O'Neill on first base, 2 men down, and the batter, as the bullpen gets up, bullpen pitchers get up, the bullpen will not get up. If it does, we're all in trouble.
The players, the pitchers in the bullpen. Well, Gene Walter's up for 1 hitter, and that's a guy who's on deck, Cal Daniels. He's up for 1 hitter, and that's the reason Carter went out to the mound to talk to Terry Leach. So if McClendon gets on, then you can look for Gene Walter to be in the ball game to pitch against Cal Daniels, who'll be the pinch hitter for Rob Murphy.
Oh, Lloyd McClendon will face Terry Leach with 2 men out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Riverfront Stadium, all kinds of excitement here tonight. Foul ball. 0-1. McClendon batting .250. Look at Barry Lyons.
That's what catchers do.
Give the balls away.
They throw balls up and they never come down. I've done that.
And here's the drive to left field, but the Mets have a guy out there, Kevin McReynolds. He makes the catch for out number 3. So the Reds fail to score. They leave a runner stranded at the end of 7. It's 5-2 in favor of New York.
Find out what it's like to write about the New York Yankees from New York Post columnist Michael Kay and Newsday's Tom Verducci on Ed Randall Talking Baseball. That's Ed Randall Talking Baseball tomorrow at 7:30 on Sports Channel. We were just talking between innings, France. Kind of interesting to note that if the Reds came up with 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, with the Mets leading by 3 now, they come up with 4 runs and keep the lead until the end of the game. Rob Murphy would have been in one of those unusual situations to be the winning pitcher without ever pitching to a hitter, because he came in relief of Browning and picked Tuffle off of first for the 3rd out.
That'd have been wild. By the way, we do have word about Bo Diaz. The reason he left the ball game is he had a stomach virus. So Lloyd McClendon is behind the plate, replacing Bo Diaz, who started behind the plate. Keith Hernandez, the batter, 1-0 count on the Met first baseman, who's batting .205 right now. Cincinnati and New York. Fouled off. 1-1.
See, Keith got the hit against Murphy last night on the slider away, fastball away, and he connected with the fastball, the game-winning hit in the top of the 9th. Now Murphy comes right back and tried to jam him with 2 pitches.
And 1-1 down low. 2-1. We were talking earlier about the preparatory hitch Keith Hernandez has, hands going back, and he hits a ground ball right there, getting jammed by Murphy, and it's scored 4-3. One down. We're talking about the different pitches in the swing. Keith Hernandez, his hands, well, here's Eric Davis, his hands dropping down, then going back. And that was an earlier at bat, obviously, for Davis. And Keith Hernandez has that preparatory hitch where his hands just go back. Watch. And now he goes through. Talking to Ralph, I thought that the guys that Ralph played with and against went down and up more so than they do today. As you look at Lenny Dykstra take a ball, 1-0.
Lenny hitches with his feet.
He does. He's got his feet.
Watch his feet. Watch the movement in the feet. See, he'll do it sometimes. It looks like he's playing the piano with his toes. I've never really thought about that until then. He's just got those fidgety feet.
Look at 2-1. Lenny ended up in his ball game. He did not start. He ended up in the game after Darryl Strawberry charged the mound, charged Tom Browning after he hit Tim Tuffle with a pitch ball. Lenny moved out to center field as Strawberry was ejected from the game, and Mookie Wilson is now in right field. 3-1 on Lenny Dykstra.
Got more ticks than a summer forest.
And he ticked one into center field. Base hit for Lenny Dykstra.
There you see all that movement. Now, ideally, you want to have the movement be as short and concise as possible. But nobody says that you have to do it a certain way. But Lenny, see, when hitters get base hits, they go down to first base and they want to talk. If you get on an error, you don't want to talk to anybody.
That's
you
right.
rarely see a guy get on an error unless he was 4 for 4. Most of the time, if they get on an error, he's looking at the scoreboard. Now, look, Lenny wants to talk. He and Nick are good buddies now. He just hit a liner to center.
That is funny. When it's an error, you don't want to talk to anybody.
You don't want to talk to anybody.
You're 0 for 1.
Mad.
By the way, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by New York Telephone, who reminds you that a call can make a difference.
Hi, Katie. It's Graham.
He came over from Oakland, where he was 2-7 last year. Had one complete game. He started 14 games for Oakland last year, 82 innings of work. He came over in the Dave Parker trade, and New York fans will remember him opening the 84 season with the New York Yankees. I think it was 84.
He came up the same year Dwight Gooden came up. I thought that was one of the reasons he came up so soon. By the way, Monday at 7:30, Davey Johnson's Mets host All-Star Dale Murphy and the Atlanta Braves. That's the Mets against the Braves Monday at 7:30 live on Sports Channel. Now, if the Devils continue on into the Wales Conference Finals Monday, then the Mets game will be on Sports Channel Plus. Sports Channel Plus is not available in all areas. And by the way, the Devils lead 2-0 over the Capitals at the Cap Center in Maryland. So, once again, if the Devils win, the Mets will be on Sports Channel Plus Monday night. Jose Rio, good move. Just missed Lenny Dykstra.
Lenny leaning, but he pushes off that right foot. That's why balance is so important for the base runner at first. You've got to be prepared to go back to first, or if you're stealing, pivot on that right foot. You almost feel Lenny working on his balance then. Rio, a good quick move, and you were right, Fran. He did come up back in 1984. He was 2-8 for the Yankees, and he just went to his mouth And a ball has been charged by first base umpire Dave Pallone.
So 1-0 right now on Kevin McReynolds. Real check Stykester once again. Very concerned about Lenny Dykstra, who has 2 stolen bases and has been caught once. Lenny can steal a base. He stole a lot of bases in the minor leagues. I heard a guy on radio the other day say this guy can't steal a base. I'm not sure if the guy's following the Mets very closely. There's a strike. 1-1 on Kevin McReynolds, who's batting .323.
You're probably thinking of the year when Lenny was a teammate of Dwight Gooden back in 1983 when he stole 105 bases. You steal that many bases, you can't say a guy can't steal.
Couldn't believe it when I heard it. Pitch out. 2-1. Sammy Palazzo, big night down there for Sammy with the signs.
Sammy has earned the respect of a lot of people. I'll tell you, he is an outstanding third base coach.
Yes,
willing
he
to
is.
take chances.
Swing and a missed. 2-2. Not only is Sammy a good third base coach, he did a fine job in the minor leagues as a manager. Played 1 year in Japan.
It's a good running situation anytime you want to go because of McClendon behind the plate. Bo Diaz, the #1 catcher with the strongest arm, and McClendon started the game as a left fielder.
There's a foul ball.
And I can assure you that anytime a catcher starts the game at another position, his arm is not ready to throw from behind the plate. Because you don't train yourself that day. He's looking over at Pete Rose and see if Pete wants him to pitch out right now. Not 2-2 though.
Now it's 3-2. Still 1 man down. By the way, we're in the top of the 8th inning. It's 5-2. Mets on top of the Reds. You're watching all the action exclusively on Sports Channel. I'm Fran Healy along with Tim McCarver and Ralph Kiner. The Mets are hot.
They're real hot right now. And Tom Browning.
Oh, yes, yes. Good point. And a chopper to short. Larkin, who can do it, does it. Scored 6-3, 2 down. Fine athlete right there. Comes from a family of fine athletes. One of his brothers played football at Notre Dame. Another one at Xavier University. Basketball player. And Barry Larkin, a 3-sport standout here at Muller High School in Cincinnati. As you look at Gary Carter, who was, by the way, hit by a pitch, single, and also has a sacrifice fly. Slider for a strike. First time around for the Mets against Rio.
Faced him in spring training in 1984. I remember Ralph and I doing that game and seeing this young man pitch and thinking, boy, this guy's got to be a good pitcher. He was 18 then.
He's got that great slider. And there's a ball. There's another strike to Gary Carter. He had Gary flinching with the slider. Carter with 7 home runs, tied with Bobby Bonilla. Glenn Davis.
There's that flinch Fran was talking about. Once you commit with the opening up of the left side, you're dead as a right-handed hitter.
Carter batting .338. Lenny Dykstra on second base. Boy, that was a heater.
Rider.
How about that for a rider? Woo.
Rio coming to the Oakland A's, are going to the A's with Tim Burtsis, Jay Howell, Eric Plunk, and Stan Javier in the Ricky Henderson trade back in 1984. After the season in '84.
And the 1-2 pitch. Oh boy, I tell you, he's got a fastball, doesn't he?
Got great stuff. I was going to say it's a good thing he did get traded to Oakland, for it was there that he met one Rosie Marichal. the daughter of Juan Marichal, and that's his father-in-law.
Juan's got about 5 daughters.
Rosie Marichal and Jose Rijo are husband and wife. So I guess he's got a pretty good tutor and papa-in-law, right?
Yes, he does. One of the
toughest right-hander I ever faced.
Is that Pete Rose did the same thing? Same thing.
Well, yeah, Pete and I were only 2,500 hits apart. Make that 2,700.
Well,
so
Pete had a big lead at everybody. There's a good pitch right there. Gary taking 3 sliders from Jose Rijo. He's got good stuff. It might be too late, though, because we're through at 7.5, and the Mets are comfortably ahead, and we'll be back. Tickets for this and all remaining regular season. I bet Eric would like to get a hold of some of those hot dogs. Tickets for this and all remaining regular season home games are available at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, all Ticketron outlets, or by calling 718-507-TIXX for all ticket information.
Roger McDowell in last night's ball game. Mac got the win after giving up the home run to Bo Diaz in the 8th inning. And McDowell 3-0 with 1 save on the year. Cincinnati product, and he'll be facing Dave Collins, who is pinch hitting for the pitcher, Jose Rijo. Dave 2 for 11 as a pinch hitter this year.
And this guy can run. Takes a fastball for a strike. In fact, he ran so well in high school that he still holds the South Dakota State high school record for the 100-yard dash at 9.6.
Wow, that's moving.
He's been around. Signed with the California Angels. Takes inside. 1-1. Never forget a story. Catfish Hunter talking about Dave Collins couldn't get him out. One day going to the ballpark, Catfish, myself, and Thurman Munson. Catfish says, I'm going to drill that guy. I can't get him out. There's a strike. 1-2. Thurman says, don't drill him. He says, that means he'll be on first base and I can't throw him out. Spoken like a catcher.
Great. If you drill him in the legs, right?
I'll never forget it.
Catfish never knocked anybody down.
Only if he protected his hitters.
Oh.
Catfish was great. I mean, great pitcher, great guy.
I never really heard of Catfish knocking anybody down.
It was so out of character. That's probably why I remember the story. 2-2 on Dave Collins. But I get the biggest kick out of Thurman's reaction to it. Inside, 3-2. Dave Collins, switch hitter, play with the Toronto Blue Jays, California Angels. Pat Perry, former Cardinal, throwing in the Reds bullpen. Fouled off. So the count stays full. Bottom of the 8th inning here. Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, 5-2. The Mets on top of the Reds. We were talking about the home plate umpire before, Eric Gregg. He's lost a lot of weight.
Oh.
Fouled off. I believe a memorandum came down from the league office, wanted the umpires to kind of get in shape. John McSherry. There's Eric Gregg.
Eric is more svelte. Yes, he is.
Bruce Fleming.
Yeah, Bruce looks excellent. Eric lost 100 pounds with the help of Gus Heffling, the physical trainer of the Philadelphia Phillies, and then gained it back, most of it, the next year. It's a big walk right there.
So Dave Collins leading off here in the bottom of the 8th, picking up a base on balls. And Davey Johnson.
It's a big walk because of what it psychologically does to Davey Johnson and Roger McDowell. You get a hit to lead off an inning when you're 3 runs ahead. It's not nearly as devastating as a walk. Walks kind of add something that you don't like. You can watch it for a bunt right here, a bunt for a base hit. Larkin likes to do that.
He's 1 for 3. Single to left field his second time up. Nice call. You'd have been out in front of the plate with the gear rod catching that one.
Interference call.
1-0.
By the way, Barry Lyons has moved in behind home plate, and Barry will bat ninth. There's Barry. And Roger McDowell batting in that 6th hole.
That's an interesting move. There's a base hit. So the walk and now a base hit off the bat of Barry Larkin. Mentioned Gary Carter was hit by a pitch ball in this game.
I think the reason they're doing it is to let Roger McDowell bat ninth. But you know, you only got one more inning to play, so Gary may be hurt. We'll see. That's the thing about that walk that opens the inning. I think walks that open an inning lead to a big inning more than base hits that open an inning, for the reasons that we just talked about, especially when you have a more than 1-run lead in the late innings. Now a home run can tie it. Leadoff home run doesn't tie it.
And this guy has 4 home runs. He's been a pleasant surprise to the Cincinnati Reds. They're very high on this guy. Chris Sabo. 2 men on, nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th inning, and McDowell's pitch is a strike. Chris Sabo 0 for 3 in this ball game.
Howard Johnson at third is playing himself as far as Sabo is concerned. You see how he's close to the line and playing for the bunt? He's putting himself at a disadvantage in 2 ways. He's toward the line and too tight.
And there's a fly ball to center field. Lenny Dykstra is there, makes the catch. Collins tags up and heads to third. He makes it easily. Larkin back on first. So 1 man down and runners on the corners.
There's Randy Myers warming up. But think about this now. A double play gets you 2 outs and a runner on third. Why guard the line with runners at first and second to keep Sabo off of second base when a double play, you know, wraps up the inning and maybe the game for the most part?
Yeah. You don't like that guy playing the line.
I don't like it with a guy like Chris Sabo, who's a fat part of the field hitter, and Roger McDowell, who's tough to pull.
You know, I remember when I was at the Giants, they did a survey for 1 year. As you look at Howard Johnson way back for Eric Davis, they came to the same conclusion with the survey: get the guy off the line.
But, you know, there are times that you do it, but for the most part, I think a lot of baseball, and we've talked about it a lot of times before, a double play gets them out of the inning now. That's what you want. You don't want to protect against Eric Davis going to second or even first. If second base is open, he's going to steal second anyway. So why try to keep a guy off second when if you let him on first, he's going to second anyway? Not going to throw him out. Coleman's the same way. I've talked to Howard about that too. See what British does? On the line.
Well, they check Larkin at first. Keep in mind, they have great speed on the bases right now. These guys can also run on their own. Barry Larkin is very difficult to throw out as you look at Howard Johnson. And of course, Dave Collins, the runner on third base. Tommy Helms, the third base coach, and over on first base, as I mentioned, Barry Larkin, the guy at the bat in his hand with great speed. 1-0. The only problem with the guy at the bat in his hand is he's batting 178 right now.
Yeah, and you hope he doesn't break out of it when you're in town.
Right.
That's what Davy Johnson's hoping. But Eric Davis, because of that hitch that Fran was talking about, can really handle that low pitch. Got to buzz him tight and upstairs. That's where National League pitchers try to pitch him.
And the problem you have right now is the bread and butter pitch from the pitcher on the mound is that low heater, that sinker. In fact, the home run he gave up last night was a pitch that was up in the strike zone to Bo Diaz. And the 1-0 pitch. 2-0.
That's just 1 and out now. They don't want, you know, you want the double play, but the chances of doubling up Davis are remote. You just want your out any way you can get it, even at the expense of having Collins score.
2-0. Watch this rip. 2-1. He is at the plate. Those hands. Oh boy. That was not a bad pitch right there, but Eric Gregg said it was a ball, so the bases are loaded with the Reds with one man down and the batter Nick Osaski.
Rogers high in the strike zone, and for Roger McDowell, that is a problem. It's not a problem for all pitchers to be up, but it is for Roger, because in order to be effective, he's got to throw the good sinker. This guy at the plate right here is tremendously strong. They're still talking about some of the home runs he hit last year.
He had 22 last year. And right now, Nick Osaski will face Roger McDowell with one man out and the bases loaded.
Osaski had a grand slam home run against the Mets before, against Doug Sisk in 1985.
He's got 4 home runs right now, and he's batting .281. Ooh. Strike one.
Of course, on the other hand, he doesn't run that well, and he could be a double play victim.
Looks like he's shortening up his swing a little bit, making better contact. One and one. Bases loaded. 5-2. The Mets on top of the Reds. 9 hits for the Mets, 8 for the Reds. Osaski with 4 grand slams in his career.
That's a lot in a short time.
It really is. He gets jammed but picks up a base hit. Look at these guys run. Wow. 2 runs came in. Did you see Eric Davis going from first to third? That's still in a jam. Still only 1 man down. They picked up 2 more runs. The Mets have only a 1-run lead as the Reds have come back here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, he doesn't hit it well, but it's not the 2 balls that weren't hit well in this inning. It's the 2 walks, especially the walk to Dave Collins. As we said, leadoff walks lead to more big innings than any other thing. I don't think Davey's going to allow him to face Garcia. No, that's all.
So that'll be all for Roger McDowell, and Davey will go to the hard-throwing left-hander, Andy Myers.
And Tracy Jones is in there after all. He was sent to the hospital to have his finger x-rayed. And Davey's making this move for a lot of obvious reasons. One, to get the strikeout.
And this call to the bullpen is brought to you by New York Telephone, who reminds you that a call can make a difference.
Hi, Sheila.
See some high cheese right here.
Well, Tracy Jones ran out in the field during that brawl. He was all keyed up. We'll see if he's still keyed up as you look at Roger McDowell. One thing about being a relief pitcher, you can have your good nights and your bad nights. No time in between. You're back out there the next day. Fastball misses outside, ball 1. Runners on the corners. Bottom of the 8th inning, 5-4. The Mets on top of the Reds. Ball 2.
The guy who's really under the gun right now is Barry Lyons. You get a hard thrower like Randy Myers, and if you haven't played a lot as a catcher, boy, it takes reactions to catch a guy like him. And Barry just came into the ball game this inning. You can imagine the trepidation he feels right now.
There's a line drive in the alley, right center field. 1 run will score. We get a tie ball game. And the Reds are first and 30 them now. It's all tied at 5 as the Reds have come back.
That's a big hit right here for Tracy Jones on the high fastball. That run, and should Osaski score, that run will be charged to Roger McDowell. Still only 1 out. Keep in mind, Davey Concepcion, an excellent bunter.
In his 19th year with the Cincinnati Reds. 1 out. Runners in first and third. Concepcion can handle the bat. Just take a look at all the offensive departments in the history of this franchise, and he's in the top 10 in most of them. Takes a ball. He's had a brilliant career here in Cincinnati.
Hey, you're in a squeeze situation right now.
Fouled off, 1-1.
Here's, now say that normally you'd let Davey hit, but he's been struggling at the plate a lot. Batting only around 200 right now, 1 for 3 tonight.
This kid throwing bullets out there.
Yeah.
I'd go along. I'd have him squeeze.
I mean, you know, it's a possibility.
Tell you what I might have him do. I might have him push a bunt or try to bunt for base hit. The only problem is, as we mentioned, this guy throwing so hard. He knows what he's going to get. And he fouls it off, so forget the bunt. Pete Rose. One-two pitch. And Davey loops at the second base. A break for the Mets. Well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Tracy Jones getting a big jump off first base.
That's a bad play. And the reason is exactly that. He didn't look up. If you're going to run, you got to look up and find the ball. And if you look up, you find the ball, and I think you can get back in time. You got to realize the go-ahead run, this is the 8th inning. The go-ahead run's on third base, an easy double play. And it could have been worse for the Mets.
Well, we got an exciting and an interesting ball game, and we'll be back. Well, Dave Collins now in left field for the Cincinnati Reds, and a new pitcher.
And is he a good one? He attended Lafayette High in Brooklyn, New York. Same school attended by Sandy Koufax and Fred Wilpon. We mentioned Sandy because he was a great left-hander. We mentioned Fred because he owns half of the Mets.
And they said Fred was a good left-hander, too.
As a matter of fact, Fred was the pitcher on that team, and Sandy the first baseman.
That's right.
What's going on?
Where is that coach?
Yeah. Well, anyway, John has just been terrific this year, as he was last year. He's given up only 6 hits in 13 innings. He's retired 37 of the 45 men he's faced. John Franco, one of the top relievers in baseball.
And he pitched for St. John's University along with Frank Viola. As you look at Howard Johnson. Howard Johnson leading it off here in the top of the ninth for the Mets. We got a 5-5 ball game, so stay right with us. Howard Johnson taking a strike. In fact, this past winter, St. John's University did a nice thing. They honored John Franco and Frank Viola at the Downtown Athletic Club.
All right.
Oh, nice tribute to the two left-handers. Jack Kaiser, the athletic director. Joey Russo, the baseball coach. Lou Carnesecca, the basketball coach. And a packed room at the DAC. That was a nice tribute to both left-handers.
I'll say.
Howard Johnson batting 171. And the 0-1 pitch down low.
By the way, Roger McDowell coming in and closing the books on 2 pitchers tonight. Ojeda now with a no decision. Bobby working 5 innings, giving up 2 runs. Roger working a third of an inning and giving up 3 earned runs. Now it's up to the relievers.
It's Franco against Myers right now. 2-1 on Howard Johnson. Give him the fastball. Yes, but it's a ball. 3-1. Here's a spot where Howard Johnson could break loose because John Franco will challenge him.
Ojo had more road homers than anybody in the National League last year. He had 23.
Ball handcuffed McClendon.
That looked like a strike.
It did, and I think because he boxed it up, it was called a ball.
That's exactly right. You don't get that call when a catcher drops the ball. Watch this pitch. See, that ball just eats McClendon up back there. So I think this game may be won or lost by the catches that are in the game now. That hurt us.
Yes, it did. That hurt McClendon's
I know
thumb.
that feeling, I'll tell you that.
And he might start favoring that hand.
Here's a hit and run here too.
And this guy can handle the bat. Wait a minute. Now, was that a balk? How about that for a step to first base?
They don't call the step anymore. That doesn't count. Just a stop. Discernible stop. See, Franco is throwing over there to get Elster to commit himself. A lot of pitchers do that, or they'll step off. John's got a good move to first, but both times Elster showed bunt. So if you're Sabo at third, you move in quickly.
And a good bunt right there. McClendon taking his time and then throwing to first base. He gets Kevin Elster, but Howard Johnson advances on a good bunt by the shortstop.
That was a blueprint, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Watch the technique right here. Outstanding bunt by Kevin Elster.
Well, Kevin Elster in the Met dugout and a runner in scoring position. And the batter, Barry Lyons. Mackie Sasser had a big day in St. Louis for the Mets. Now we'll see what Barry does here in Cincinnati. Chases a bad pitch from John Franco, strike 1. Barry had a fine year backing up Gary Carter last year.
Now, one of the big hits on this road trip, and there have been many for the Mets, was a double by Barry Lyons, the pinch hit double last Saturday night in the Mets' 12-9 win over the Cardinals.
Swinging a little too hard right there, 0-2. When you swing that hard, you tend to pull your head. He smoked that ball in St. Louis. No balls and 2 strikes on Barry Lyons. Howard Johnson leading off second base. John Franco, the pitcher. Swung on and in, strike 3.
Now, Barry going after some bad balls here in the dirt, but John Franco really a tough sign. Did he foul tip that ball?
No, but no, first base is not occupied.
Yeah, well, why didn't he run? And why isn't there a throw over there?
I'm going to tell you what's wild, that if they could tell him before he got to the dugout that the ball hit the ground, he can still run before he gets in the dugout.
Watch, this ball's in the dirt. Now, catcher's got to catch it cleanly.
Ball hit the dirt.
Looked like it did. But Barry's not running, and Lloyd's not throwing, so it doesn't matter. He's in the dugout.
But the wildest rule is if you don't step into the dugout and somebody says, hey, that ball hit the ground, you can then turn around and run to first base. They still have to throw the ball. But anyways, doesn't matter. 2 outs. Mookie Wilson the batter. Runner still on second base, and we're all tied at 5 here in the top of the 9th. Mookie hits a high fly ball down the right field line and into the crowd. Now to play. 1 strike. Mookie in this ball game 1 for 4. He had a triple. The ball hit off of Eric Davis's glove. The ball should have been caught by Davis or by O'Neill.
That led to a run and a hit batsman.
That's right.
And a fight.
1-1.
And an ejection and a possible, make that a double ejection, and a possible suspension on Tom Browning. See what 1 drop fly can do?
And the walk. The block. To short. Larkin. Oh boy, he pulled him off the base. Safe. He's able to run, scored. Do you believe it? A late call by the first base umpire.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Bill Robinson, I think, made the call for him, and because it was late, Osaski didn't have a chance to throw home to get Johnson. I don't believe it.
I don't either. Look at this. That's what Pete's arguing about.
Well, why
the
didn't he
late
call?
call.
Well, Pete's got a point because he's got to make the call right now.
Oh, boy. Look. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. They better grab Pete.
Seen Pete Rose touch an umpire or even come close to an umpire.
Oh, Pete will get suspended too.
Yep.
You got to suspend him.
He's saying that Dave Pallone touched him in the jaw.
What happened was he mimicked him. I thought that burnt up Pete Rose when he mimicked him. I'm not sure that's good policy either.
Well, here's the play once again. It appeared that Osaski was off the bag. We're not saying that he didn't get the right call. Now, he was off the bag right there. The point was, watch Pallone. He does not make an initial call. Mookie looking back. Bill Robinson pointing to the bag. Bill's doing his job. Pallone didn't make the call right away. And that allowed Osaski, assuming he was out, not to be able to throw a hustling Howard Johnson, waved around by Sammy Palazzo. Boy, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything quite like that.
No. That late call did the trick for the Mets, so a break for the Mets.
Yes, sir.
And good hustling by Howard Johnson. You have to applaud Sammy Palazzo.
Yes, sir. Throwing error on Barry Larkin and an unearned run.
Seen a manager push an umpire with his hands either.
Not twice. No. Now, usually if there's a butt, it's with the chest. I mean, that could be a 5 to 10 dayer for Pete.
Yeah. This Pallone, boys, the fans are getting all over him now.
Well,
Dave Pallone.
It appeared, you know, we're trying to be as fair as we can, but it appeared, and, you know, they love Pete here. They named the street after him outside. Just don't want the crowd to vent their feelings too much with Dave Pallone.
If you show the argument, you'll see where Pallone mimics Pete Rose also.
Yeah, and when you do that, then you're provoking a manager. See, he's clearly off the bag. But now Osaski doesn't know what the throw is, and now He can't throw the ball home. Johnson first. And Pallone gave him the late call. Now he pointed at him, and I think he made contact. I think he hit Pete Rose in the face, and that's what maybe Pete was telling Eric Gregg, that he touched him and certainly mimicked him. And this place is a little nuts right now.
Yeah, you know, when he mimicked him, I think that just incited Pete.
Well, and I think he may have made contact too, Fran. Otherwise, why would Pete point to his face?
You know, Tim, what I would have done, of course, we have, obviously, hindsight up here. Bill Robinson stepped into fair territory in front of Osaski, even though Osaski could not have thrown out Howard Johnson.
That's an excellent point.
Oh, this is wild tonight. What else is going to happen?
That's exactly right. Bill actually stopped in front, or stepped in front of Osaski, and they're bringing the players off the field.
You believe this?
Here it is one more time. Well, Pete is clearly in the wrong there.
Yes.
No excuse.
That's
no
right.
excuse for that. Clearly in the wrong.
Again, the only thing that I can see exciting Pete or inciting Pete is the mimicking of him.
Or contact made on his cheek.
Yeah. But if we get a chance to see it again, we'll see Bill Robinson step in front of Osaski. Even though Osaski would not have thrown Howard Johnson out to play, they might have had an argument there.
That's where a protest could be lodged. No question about it. Yeah, because of Robinson going into fair territory. So a lot of elements.
A wild ball game.
Here it is one more time. Now the throw clearly pulled Osaski off the bag. There, he's off the bag when Mookie touches the bag. But here's Fran's point. He's in fair territory. And now Osaski doesn't have a throw home. I mean, you could argue that. I guess an umpire would say that the play was already over anyway.
He's getting on him about the late call.
About the late call, right. Now watch Pallone here. Right now,
yes.
He made contact with it.
Yes, he did.
And that's when Pete...
That's right.
Pete clearly wrong, but Pallone may have provoked him by making contact. I don't know.
Well, the fans are not happy. As you can see, the ground crew here picking up the debris thrown on the field after the call. Pete Rose obviously out of the ball game. Tom Browning out of the ball game earlier in the game after throwing at Tim Tuffle.
And Darryl Strawberry out of the ball game.
Yeah, he's back in the clubhouse. Tell you, a lot of guys in the clubhouse right now. Himself because he knew he was wrong with the late call.
But you see, Pallone does not give the call. See, there's no call given. You can see that. Now he's either safe or out. And the call was clearly delayed, and in our opinion, that prevented Osaski from throwing home to try to get Johnson. But as Fran so saliently pointed out, Robinson was in fair territory. And what would Davey be talking about right now?
I think he's concerned with the delay.
With Randy Myers.
Sure.
So Tommy Helms, I would imagine, would be the acting manager in Pete's absence. Tommy almost got into it with Pallone. Tommy was out of the dugout.
Yes, he was. He was out there
yeah,
at first
he was.
base, too.
There's Tommy in the foreground. A lot of heated folks in this place.
Well, once again, the ground crew still picking up the debris here at Riverfront Stadium. Somebody just threw a ball out in the field. What's going on? Somebody can get hurt. Gotta be careful now. This is a baseball game. Come on. That's right. I don't blame him. The umpires are leaving the field.
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
This game could be forfeited.
Yeah, this is a game. This shouldn't go on.
This is ridiculous. When people resort to that particular type of violence, it's absurd.
Yeah,
we all know that.
That's exactly right. I don't blame those umpires.
This game could be forfeited. They do have the power to do that.
And that would be a shame if a ball club lost the game because of their fans.
Well, I tell you, this is the first time that in the top of any ninth inning, I've seen 6 guys around second base and nobody else doing anything unless it's been raining.
Well, it looks like they picked up most of it out in the outfield. We'll see if the umpires come back out. I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. And that's dangerous. You're throwing baseballs at these guys.
Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah, there's no place for that in sports. The umpires do have the right to forfeit this game, and with things being thrown at them, there's Pete Rose. Pete coming back for another look.
Now they want Pete to come out. The fans are calling for Pete.
I've never seen Pete do that.
No.
So I'm sure league president Bart Giamatti will look at the films and decide how long the suspension's going to be, because I would think there will be a suspension with Pete.
How about Brownie?
And maybe how about Dave Pallone?
Yes. How about Dave Pallone?
Of course, Pete did the finger pointing first, but Pete didn't touch him. And it appeared to us that Pallone made contact, as evidenced by Pete saying that to Eric Gregg.
Well, obviously the umpires take a lot of abuse, but I think in a situation like that, when the manager goes out and the game's on the line, he argues with you. The last thing you want to do is be mimicked by the umpire when you're in a fit of rage anyways, as you look at the owner of the Cincinnati Reds, Marge Schott. Where's Shotzi anyways tonight, the dog?
You got me.
He's not here tonight. He's usually walking around here with his hat on. And there's John Kibler, the umpire, one of the umpires. He'll probably warn the Reds if it continues. And Marge Schott wants to talk to him. If it continues, he'll forfeit the game.
Well, Marge has nothing to say about it. That's not
right.
in her hands. It's in the umpire's hands. Marge is over there waving to them. Of course, Marge, earlier in the year, thought Kansas City was in the National League East.
That's their
or something like that.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, I don't know.
They asked her who she has to worry about this year. She said Kansas City.
Marge with an understandably forlorn look on her face. And the umpires deserve a lot of credit. They do. Getting the guys, and I'm surprised that Dave Pallone's coming back on the field. That kind of shows me something.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes, it does.
They want the game to be played. They were giving the crowd a chance to cool off.
Well, these guys are good umpires. I mean, you're going to miss plays. You're going to make mistakes, but that's part of the game.
Well, the real route, as we said one more time, we didn't think that there was any question about Nick Osaski, the first baseman, being off the bag. The problem was, and it purely was disputed along those lines, it appeared, was that Pallone gave the late call, thereby preventing Osaski from throwing home. Howard Johnson and Sam Perlazzo, the third base coach, combining to send Johnson home. Marge is socializing now, saying goodbye to her friend.
She just changed in midstream, didn't she? Now she wants to argue.
No, she's hot now.
Look, she's arguing with somebody.
That's a hot shot right there.
Well, everything is happening here tonight that could have happened.
Let's take a look at the play just one more time. Johnson at second, 2 outs. Now Barry Larkin has an easy play on Wilson, who's really tearing down the line, but watch the foot of Asaski. He's off the bag. Wilson's safe. No call from Pallone. There is a call from Robinson, but Bill's in the first. Now he's in fair territory.
I think Asaski tagged him.
Got to tag somebody.
Now the mimicking would incite anybody to watch this.
That's the delayed call. Now watch Pallone come up with the hands. He poked him right in the left, right below the ear.
Yes, he did.
The double shove, I would think the second shove would be the one that would be costly, and I'm serious about that.
Uh-oh. Pallone now going towards home plate. Let's see, they must have thrown something in the field.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Okay, they're taking Pallone out of the game, I guess. Pallone will leave the ball game. They're throwing debris at Pallone. I don't blame him for leaving. They're going to do it with 3 umpires now. Yeah, this is crazy. You can't do that.
Well, this is ridiculous. It's not the fault of the Cincinnati management. It's the fault of unruly fans.
That's right.
And that's a simplistic statement. And obviously, the management here does not condone that type of activity, and it's a shame.
All right, back to baseball, we hope. Tim Tuffle steps in. And they check Mookie Wilson at first base. Mookie Wilson at first base, 2 out. We're in the top of the 9th inning. The Mets have gone ahead 6-5. And an unbelievable play that took place about 15 minutes ago. John Franco checking Wilson again. The batter is Tim Tuffle. Well, now they're throwing debris at John Kibler. These people got to calm down. Down low as Wilson heads for second. Perfect throw. Outstanding throw by Lloyd McClendon to catch Mookie Wilson at second base. But the damage has been done in a lot of ways here in the top of the 9th. The Mets have picked up 1 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. They have the lead, and we'll be back. Well, Tommy Helms, the acting manager of the Cincinnati Reds, talking to Eric Gregg. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning, 6-5. The Mets on top of the Reds, and chaos has taken over here in Riverfront.
Keith Hernandez wearing a hard hat, and so's Howard Johnson. And you can't blame him. This is ridiculous. And it's not just a Cincinnati crowd. It's any crowd that would get involved to this degree of throwing things onto the field.
And almost
ridiculous.
Randy Myers almost hurt himself because of it. Eric Gregg had a call timeout as Randy Myers was warming up because Howard Johnson was not in position. Now they're set. Randy pitching from the stretch. Paul O'Neill the batter. Fouled off, strike 1.
And Fran, I said it's not this town, but something happened to me in this town when we had a bench clearing brawl back in 1973. And I went back to the bullpen along with the other pitchers and everybody, and a full beer landed about 3 feet from me, thrown from a long ways with a kerplunk.
That could kill you. You get hit in the temple with one of these hard objects.
Fastball on the outside corner, unhittable.
1-2 up high with the heater. The Reds have 10 hits in this game, 5 runs. The Mets have 9 and 6 runs.
I think Red's an appropriate term in this city right now.
Yes. Fouled off. 1-2. There'll be a lot of decisions made in the league office concerning this game tonight.
Surely will.
One ball, 2 strikes. Bart Giamatti, I'm sure, probably getting his rest. He's got a lot of decisions. 2-2. And Paul O'Neill. O'Neill in this ball game, 2 for 3. One of those hits a bullet into center field. He'll be followed by Lloyd McClendon. Checks his swing. This could be a base hit if Myers can't do it. Can he? Not in time. I'll tell you one thing. A bang-bang play now in this stadium. It's going to be tough to rule against the Reds.
Check swing, and Howard Johnson playing deep because it's 2 strikes. He can't make the play, and Myers takes too long, and O'Neill's safe at first base. So we'll see if McClendon's going to be up there bunting.
Paul O'Neill not on first base, leading off the inning. Bruce Kim, third base coach, talking to Lloyd McClendon. Third base coach Bruce Kim, the private catcher for Mark the Bird Fidrich back in 1976 with the Tigers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the only one that caught him.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No wonder he's a coach.
That's right.
He's got to be able to handle people.
As McClendon takes a strike. 0-1. There's Bruce.
You handle the Bird, you could handle it.
Oh, that's right. I'd like to catch him. He had great stuff, though. The Bird from North Attleboro, Massachusetts. 0-1. Swung in and missed. 0-2. Myers is just blowing the ball.
That was
up
some
there.
gas right there. I mean, some gas. Watch this buzz ball. I mean, this is some high cheese right there.
Some more cheese. Still 0-2.
A very strong Lloyd McClendon, 24 home runs in 1985 in Denver, gave him a shot with the Reds the next year.
Plays the outfield. He can play a little bit in the infield. And he's a catcher. High heat out of the strike zone. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Barry Lyons catching Randy Myers, and does not catch, obviously, every day. His reactions are good, catching a hard-throwing left-hander. Randy trying to throw the ball too hard right now. Batting .222 right now, and he fouls another ball off. He's had some good hacks.
Those last 2 have been big league cuts. Just a very small distance. The difference between a home run and a foul ball. Talking about centimeters. Those are big league cuts right there.
Up high, 3-2. No power against power. So far, he's gotten 5 straight fastballs, 3-2. He's got a real good chance of getting another fastball. And Paul O'Neill still on first base, 3-2. Nobody out.
I wonder if he'll be sent here. Myers, a strikeout pitcher, but Lyons entering the game in the 8th inning. O'Neill runs well.
He doesn't go. Popped up. Infield, playable, Tuffle. 1 down. If you missed this ball game tonight, you missed an exciting game. Everything has happened. And to finish it off, the Mets have brought in Randy Myers.
Randy's a little fired up too. Everybody's fired up. As Al Michaels said, and In game number 5 of the American League Championship Series, in the 10th inning, he said, if you're just tuning in, too bad.
That's right.
Yeah, that was back in 1986.
And there's a ball foul out of play off the bat of Dave Collins. Collins, one of those hitters that just tries to put the head of the bat on the ball. Andy Myers throwing bullets. 1-1. O'Neill. Collins, fly ball. Wilson. 2 outs. O'Neill running back to tag up, but he has to forget it as Mookie gets the ball back in. So there are 2 men down here in the bottom of the 9th inning. What else can happen? The batter will be Barry Larkin.
I'll tell you, the umpires deserve an awful lot of credit for the way they've handled everything tonight.
Yes, they do. They've done a nice job.
Eric Gregg at home plate. Dave Pallone, who was the first base umpire, is no longer there due to the common sense of his leaving for protection. Fans throwing things at him, and John Kibler's moved to first with Jim Quick now at second base. They have done a marvelous job. They really have.
Yes, they have. And
It takes a lot of guts, man.
To stay out there. And John Kibler's the guy, I'm sure, that told Dave Pallone to go into the clubhouse.
Yep.
Popped up. Looks like the Mets are going to win the second game of this 3-game series. It's over.
If I were the Mets, I'd get off the field. Shake hands in the clubhouse.
That's right.
And they're doing that. They're doing exactly that.
They got to get off. As you can see, Howard Johnson and Keith Hernandez with hard hats on when they went out to play defense. And the Mets hustling off the field. The fans very unhappy here in Cincinnati. The Mets have to be happy. They just won a 6-5 ball game. 6 runs on 9 hits, no errors for the Mets. 5 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for the Reds. And there's a happy Davy Johnson, and we'll be back. Well, welcome back to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's been a wild evening here in Cincinnati. The Mets beating the Cincinnati Reds by 1 run, and there's been chaos all over the place tonight. I guess Tim
You're getting on my hair again, right? It looks like I've been in a fight. That's just from a headset, too.
Well, I guess, you know, looking at this game, it all started probably when Tim Tuffle was hit by the pitch from Tom Browning.
Well, I guess maybe even earlier when Gary Carter was hit. Gary Carter was hit. Darryl Strawberry took a fastball inside, and Tom Browning had Eric Davis caught the ball in right center field. The score at the time was 4-2. It was the top of the 6th inning. And had Eric caught the ball, then Mookie doesn't go to third base. And on the next pitch, before actually one pitch had been delivered to Tim Tuffle, Browning balks. And then Pete Rose went out to the mound. He came back, and on the first pitch, Tuffle was hit. Both benches emptied, and all sorts of things that were weird really happened after that. The Reds tying it up in the bottom of the 8th, and the Mets scoring that go-ahead run in the 9th in weird fashion.
It really was. But I'll tell you, if you missed the game, it was an exciting ball game here at Riverfront Stadium. And a very exciting play is going to be our Budweiser play of the game. Watch this. Gary Carter does an outstanding job blocking home plate. The ball gets down the line off of Howard Johnson's glove. Kevin McReynolds comes in and gloves the ball, gets it in as Lloyd McClendon heads for home plate. A great throw by Kevin McReynolds, and watch Gary Carter block home plate. They stop McClendon. Of course, an argument ensued right after this play. But obviously, from that angle, you can see that McClendon was out. So that's our Budweiser play of the game. So, again, a lot of excitement here.
Yeah, I guess that was really the beginning of things. An angry Lloyd McClendon. He didn't get kicked out of the game. As a matter of fact, he was eventually the catcher in the ball game. And, you know, when you think of the Texaco stars of the game tonight, I guess you have to think of the umpires who acted in regal fashion in handling the crowd. And there's John Kibler to the right, Eric Gregg with his back to the camera, and Jim Quick to the left of your screen. Dave Pallone left in the top of the 9th inning. And I think that was a good move because Dave Pallone made the controversial call at first base, and a very, very angry, scary crowd here at Riverfront.
It really was, and they were throwing debris at the umpire, Dave Pallone. He left the ball game, and John Kibler went over to umpire at first base. They threw debris at John Kibler. And the sad thing about being an umpire is, you know, usually if they're throwing it at the opposing team, they at least go home. But these umpires, they really never go home. I mean,
That's right. They have to be back out here tomorrow afternoon, and we're hoping things have settled down by then.
Yes, we do. But anyways, once again, the final score here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, it was 5-4 in favor of the New York Mets. Tim?
The Mets, by the way, have won 6 ball games this year of their 15 wins after the 7th inning, and they did it again tonight. Remember, tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m., the Yankees are taking on the Texas Rangers at the stadium, and we'll cover that on Sports Channel. Monday at 7:30, we're back on the air as the Mets square off with the Atlanta Braves. The Devils game is still in action now, and if they advance to the Wales Conference Finals, this is a note, the Devils will play the Boston Bruins Monday at 7:30, and we, against the Atlanta Braves, we at Sports Channel, Fran and Ralph and I, will be on Sports Channel Plus. So for Ralph Kiner and Fran Healy, this is Tim McCarver from Riverfront Stadium as the Mets beat the Cincinnati Reds 6-5. Good evening, everybody.